Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today, I'm going to be taking a look at DC Nation issue 0. So this book's really cool. It's been out for a couple of weeks, so you may have already gotten it. But if you haven't, the big selling point on this is it's only 25 cents. So it's basically the best way you could spend a quarter, you know. Not much these days costs only 25 cents. So it's got 3 stories, which is pretty interesting. Um, yeah, so we'll just go ahead and check it out. Here's the cover. It's very representative of the 3 stories. So there's one that's tied into No Justice, and then there's a Batman one, and then there's a Superman one. So pretty good stuff. I'll go ahead and check it out. So this is the creative teams that worked on it. So the first story, you can see there, it's called Batman in Your Big Day, and it's written by Tom King, and the art is by Clay Mann. The second story is Superman in Office Space, so that's written by Brian Michael Bendis, so he's pretty controversial. And this is my favorite thing about the entire issue, the art on the second story is done by Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez. He's definitely one of my favorite artists. Definitely in my top 10. I'd say in my top 5. I think he's really awesome. As a DC fan, you really should be aware of Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez. Even if you don't like his art, you should at least know who he is. So definitely look him up if you don't know who he is. He basically did the house style for DC for decades. So a lot of the stuff you see when you see Superman or Wonder Woman in art, a lot of the times it's either his art or it's based off of his art. So anyway, a bit of a tangent there. And the colors are by Alex Sinclair. Now he is a really good artist. He's a really good colorist. He's one of my favorites. Him and Sandra Hope. So I'm glad that they paired him with a good colorist. And then the last story is the Justice League in No Justice Prelude. And Jorge Jimenez is the artist on this one. So they got a really good team, and Scott Snyder's the writer. And yeah, so it's pretty interesting. So we'll go ahead and start off. So we got the Joker here being creepy, as he often does. So he's hiding out underneath the deal there, and he's talking to a guy. So he's broken into the guy's house, and he holds him hostage. But the whole reason he's holding him hostage is because he is expecting an invitation to come in the mail, because Batman's getting married, and he's expecting a wedding invitation. But there's literally no reason Batman would send it to this place, or invite the Joker either. So essentially the Joker is just being insane. And he holds this guy hostage. And what's really shocking about this guy, where is he? He says it right here. So he's being held prisoner by the Joker, right? And the Joker's got him at gunpoint. And then the guy says, I have a daughter, just out of the blue. And then he keeps talking about it. And then he's like, where does he say? He says, I don't know why you broke into my house, but you can have anything. Anything. I don't want to die. Jeez, what a bad father, you know. He's willing to sell out his daughter. But the Joker just doesn't even care. He's like, oh, that's wonderful. I love kids. So, you know, the Joker's better than the father here in this story. So anyways, he's been crazy and waiting for the invitation, and he's like, when does the mail get here and all that, just waiting and waiting. And then the guy finally grabs the gun from the Joker and tries to shoot him. And we see, if it would focus, that'd be really helpful. But in any case, he pulls the gun on him, and it's it's like a blank. It's a joke gun. So then the guy just feels like garbage because he basically offered his daughter, and it wasn't even a real threat. And he's just like, kill me, to the Joker. But they're just waiting for the invite. Waiting for it to come through the mail slot. And they're waiting around. And, the dialogue and stuff's pretty good. And then finally the mail does come through. So they get the letter, and he's like, oh, wow. And, you know, he opens it, and the guy can't believe that the invitation actually came. And the Joker reads it, and he, you know, there's some more dialogue. And then he ends up actually shooting the guy. He kills him. And then we look at the letter, and it's like from the Gotham City Department of Education. So it was a letter to that guy about his daughter. So it wasn't an invitation at all. So, kind of a crazy story, and it says it's continued in Batman number 48. So, I don't know. Of the three stories, this one was my least favorite, but, you know, it was definitely alright. It's kind of crazy, though. So this story is really cool. It's got the art by Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez, and the writing by Brian Michael Bendis actually wasn't bad. I actually liked this story quite a bit. I thought it was pretty good. So Clark Kent was out on a reporting deal to get a story, and he also went there as Superman and stopped these guys here who were using and selling Lex Luthor's technology. So there's everybody that worked on it. And so that's pretty good, you know, classic Superman kind of thing he would do. And he's talking to them and stuff, but he ends up not putting much of what happened into his story. And that comes up here in a little bit. So for some reason Lois Lane's gone missing, and it isn't ever really explained why in this, but Perry offers her office to Clark, and he turns it down because he misses her. And they show her here, but it's actually a cardboard cutout of her. So it's never really made clear where she is or what happened to her in this story. But they introduce a couple new characters. This one's like a gossip, and this one's a new character. Let's see, what is her name? I forgot. I gathered you. So she's a new hire, and her name's Robinson Good. So she's a pretty important character, but they introduce her, and apparently she's a really good journalist and worked in Central City. Introduce her to everybody. She meets Clark, and she's real interested in Clark, but Perry wants to talk to Clark. So he goes into the office, and this is where the story thing comes up. Perry essentially says he can tell that Clark isn't focused on his work, and he isn't doing the quality that he would normally, and with Lois gone, he really needs him to pull his weight. And Clark kind of agrees and walks out, so I'm not really sure what all that's going on. A lot of this is connected to a story that already happened, I think. So anyways, we got some more really cool stuff. This whole page here is really amazing, this splash page. Well, I don't know if you... I guess it's a splash page. It's got some panels over it too, but yeah, really good art by Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez. He always does fantastic art. So, yeah, then here's the last page. So that Good lady, she's talking to some guy here, but anyways, it's basically revealed that she's up to no good and wants to take over the Daily Planet. So it's pretty good, and it says it's continued in Man of Steel number 1. So I haven't read Man of Steel number 1, but I will say this was a confidence builder. After reading Bendis' story in Action Comics 1000, I was pretty worried, but this story was solid. I liked it. So the last one is really good. I think I liked this one the most, and it did a really good job because it is a prelude to the Justice League No Justice, that 4-shot comic that's already wrapped up. I actually hadn't been following that, but this did a really good job of making me interested in the characters and the teams. So not a lot happened. Well, a lot happens, but it's basically just to set up the teams. So because of that, I think I'm going to go ahead and actually review No Justice. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it, at the 4 issues that have come out. At first I thought it was really kind of silly that the heroes were teamed up with the villains, but this little prelude actually kind of explains why that is. And yeah, just a really good little short story that actually got me interested in the No Justice storyline where I hadn't been before. So that's pretty good. I ought to read it too before I review Justice League #1, which I also got. So this ends with this great big threat, these guys, and they've come to Earth, but all the other teams are off planet. So Supergirl and Green Arrow are shown on Earth, so they and whoever else is on Earth are going to have to deal with it. So yeah, that's how it ends, and then there's a preview for DC Nation #1. So this is the next issue, and check it out. It's free. So you can get that for free. I'm not sure where. Well, it must be at the, at your comic book shop. It was not there when I went, but I think it was all gone. So you can also get it, though, on Comixology for free. So definitely do that. I'm going to. So yeah, pick that up for free, and you can still get this on Comixology. It's a quarter, or it might even be free too, but at the most it costs a quarter. Yeah, 25 cents. So best buy of the year. Definitely get DC Nation for a quarter. I thought it was pretty cool. And I mean, if nothing else, I mean, it's a pretty good comic for a quarter. And then there's a preview for Doomsday Clock on the back. It looks pretty cool. So I will be doing a review of Doomsday Clock #5 at some point. I bought that too. And what else? Okay, so my next review is going to be, I think, The Immortal Men #1. I just read this. I thought it was pretty good, actually. So I'll be talking about that. And then on Sunday, we are having a live stream. So at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be talking about the newer DC comic books, specifically ones from the last 2 weeks, the last month or so. So a lot about the New Age of Heroes, Doomsday Clock, Justice League, No Justice, all that good stuff. Alright, so that's all for now. Be sure and subscribe if you aren't subscribed. It helps me out a lot. And as always, thanks for watching and being a part of DC Fans United.